Hi there guys, Mr. back from the video, and today I want to give my review on Mortal Kombat 2. I just watched some theaters, and then now I didn't give my review on Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind or Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match. Just here's my review on those two movies. I think that just a quick review. I think that Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind is a great movie. I really like it. There's a lot of great stuff in that. It really brought Kenshi up a lot. And ultimately, I think that is a great movie. I think that Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match is even better. I think that that's also a great movie. I think that's a fun time. Great. It's overall really funny. It's a great, parody piece. So overall, great movie. They're both great movies. Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind was my second favorite Mortal Kombat movie before I watched Mortal Kombat 2. And Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match was my favorite Mortal Kombat movie before I watched Mortal Kombat 2. And now they've shipped it back one because Mortal Kombat 2 is easily my favorite Mortal Kombat movie. I absolutely love this movie. Okay. I thought this was a great movie. So just this will be full spoilers for Mortal Kombat 2. I will be getting into all that stuff. So yeah. Ultimately I do think this is a great movie. So yeah, maybe just starting off with the negatives, I guess. I do think that the tournament maybe could have been handled a little bit better because the tournament, it wasn't really in that much of the movie. Also, I didn't really like how they handled the tournament of them getting teleported away. I thought the individual action scenes were great. I love the fact that we finally got the tournament, and it was still really, really good. But I think that the tournament was they were in it felt kind of weird that they got teleported away. I didn't like that. Also, I didn't like the fact that Johnny Cage was eliminated the first round. I thought that was pretty stupid. And I just found it out ultimately. And that was a little weird. And also, I think another thing is Quan Chi. I think is not good is not really good in this movie, because Quan Chi in the video games, even though he might always seem like he's always gonna be working for Shao Kahn, he works for Shao Kahn a lot, he really has a goal. He always has this other thing, In the games, he's actually the one who killed Scorpion's family. That was him. He disguised himself as Sub-Zero. That was retcon in Mortal Kombat 4. It was just, he's always such a great villain. It might seem like he's working for him, but then he will instantly switch up. He always has a plan to either serve to himself or serve Shinnok. Right, but it didn't really seem like he had that plan in the movie. He was just kind of like a weird, yes, sire. He was kind of like Kamek. And I thought that was weird, and I really liked that. Besides that, Carlo Ren's American accent's kind of weird. I have the same, that's not really a big deal. It's kind of the same issue with, the Star Trek movies, they're using. But, that's not really a big deal. It's whatever, right? But ultimately, yeah, it's probably about all the Kirsten I have this movie. So let's just get into it. So I don't know what to be. I guess I'll just probably go through the movie mainly. We do see. Oh, also, I'll just get to any other criticism I may have later on as I look at that. So yeah, one thing. So we start off the movie and it's King Jared and stuff. I did like how that was handled. I like the fact that we get to see the death of King Jared. One thing that is kind of weird is that Shao Kahn's design, I think, is pretty stupid, because in the games and anything else, it's just he almost has a Batman mask where the lower jaw is exposed, but everything above that is the skull mask. But then they decided to make it, let's just give it a full skull mask. Whatever. For a second I thought, I seen that he had spikes on him. I was my first thought was, oh, it's like a Mortal Kombat 1, because in most things he's depicted to be kind of like a normal human, but in Mortal Kombat 1 he's kind of depicted to be this weird, like much more weird creature, instead of like more of a humanoid thing. And then the second thought was, oh, he's gonna be revealed to be our Caden, or I forget how to pronounce it. I continuously forget to pronounce it. I know I'm not pronouncing it right. Tarkaden, Tarkaden. I think it's Tarkaden. It might not be though. Sorry about that if it isn't. But Tarkaden, like, oh my god, that's why he has a mask on, because it's gonna be a reveal later that he's a Tarkaden, and that like that's why he has a full mask, because he has like the mouth of a Tarkaden. But that wasn't real. It was just that he was human or some weird bullshit, whatever. But yeah, that's where we do get one of our leads, because there were two. I would argue that there were two leads in this movie, two main leads. It was Johnny Cage and Katana, and I really like that, because first off, Johnny Cage, he's my favorite character. And yeah, I do think that Liu Kang always should be the main character. But however, the picture of Liu Kang we got in the first Mortal Kombat movie wasn't that good. The picture in this movie, I'll get to that one. But yeah, I mean, I'll get to that later. But like, yeah, get to what they did with Liu Kang in this movie later. But so I'm fine with Johnny Cage being the main character, especially because that's what kind of the last movie set up. And I'd much rather Johnny Cage and Katana be the main characters than Cole Young. And then we get the whole Uncaged Fury trailer, which I thought was really cool. And then we move on into just Johnny Cage at like a Comic-Con type thing. I know it's not Comic-Con, but something like that, like an event like that. And here's where a minor gripe comes in, is that I absolutely love the fact that they gave Johnny Cage the belt buckle of Cage in this movie, and I absolutely love the fact they gave Johnny Cage my personal favorite Johnny Cage outfit, which is the purple jacket. I love the fact they gave him that. But he only wears that in the fake movies. I think it would be cool if he wore that throughout the entire movie. And you might be saying, well, I mean, why would he just randomly wear that? Well, you guys remember, the start of this movie is him at like a convention, right? So if to like get autographs and get money from that and stuff, because you're a washed-up celebrity. What if you were to take that jacket, take it? It would make sense for him to go in with the jacket with all that stuff to look like the character, to like get more stuff. It would just make sense for him to wear the jacket there, in that there. I think that's just stupid that he didn't wear the jacket. I would love to see him fight people with the jacket on. Which is then, gets teleported away, back to like wherever they're fighting, and they're all practicing stuff. And here's where you get the clear setup that Cole's gonna die. Spoiler alert, he does. But there's clear setup, because I was like, I know he's gonna die, but fingers crossed for him to turn into Kenshi. And my theory of him potentially turning into Kenshi was that he would go into a fight with someone, maybe Shao Kahn, and it would, to like servitude a big bad, they would destroy his suit, cut his eyes out, and almost kill him, right? So then he loses his powers because he lost his suit, right? I know that's not exactly how it works, but still, he loses powers because he lost his suit and now he's blind, right? So that could be a character where he gets his sword and then he becomes Kenshi, and then we reveal that Cole Young was a station, because remember, he's an MMA fighter, and that his real name was Kenshi, and they actually just Kenshi from the video games. I think that would be great, but they didn't do that. Seven died. Whatever. He dies. At least he's not the main character here. But they clearly set up like, I have a daughter and a family, and I'm fine if I die in this tournament, because I know that I will be saving them, or some stupid bullshit like that. Like, oh, then he's clearly dead. Yeah, I do think that there is flaws with Cole Young dying, though. It's not this movie's fault, but it's mainly the last movie's fault. Because, remember, he's the one who killed Goro, okay? And Goro is a badass, okay? Goro almost never gets treated with the respect he deserves. Goro is one of my favorite Mortal Kombat characters. And Goro was killed by this guy who dies instantly in this movie. Also, even then, he beat Shao Kahn in the fight. He beat Shao Kahn. He would have killed Shao Kahn if Shao Kahn didn't get the Shinnok's amulet, like, from MKX, which I thought was really cool. Then Cole Young would have won. Shao Kahn would have died. Whatever though. But yeah, talking about that, we do see Quan Chi, one of my main issues of the movie, and Jade, Katana. By the way, Katana's fake. Okay, she's a bitch. Okay, because you see, like in their opening scene, they're good friends. They're like sisters essentially. And then even after, she's like, "Oh, it's been 30 years since he assigned me to be your personal bodyguard, and I know what he did to you, but like, ultimately, you still treat me like family, and we're still best friends." Then later on, this two-time bitch goes to Raiden and all those guys, and she just says, "My friend Jade is in the fight. Do what you have to, but don't make her suffer." You bitch. If the line had been, "If my friend Jade is in the fight, if you can, please spare her," I would be like, "Okay, that's fine, whatever." No, but this fake says, "You could kill her, just don't make her suffer." You bitch. You bitch. Jack decided to spare her, even though he got full permission to kill her. Like, the line was literally, "You do what you must, but don't make her suffer." Like, bro, why do you talk? Like, you could say, like, if you need to kill her, but, like, try not to, right? Like, that's a much better line that doesn't make her look like such a fake. Man, what a bitch. And yeah, that pissed me off. I was like, what a fake. But yeah, where you get this whole, and then ultimately you get this whole Quan Chi thing when she's in the movie, and you see him resurrecting Kung Lao as a revenant, and then you also find out Sindel is resurrected as a revenant, which is something I kind of do in the video games. In that one, she's not really resurrected as a revenant, but she is resurrected. At the end of the day, she's still resurrected, but not really as a revenant, you know. But yeah, you see that like she's probably died like multiple times, and I think that one of my issues with Sindel in the movie, because that's such a cool thing. Like, that's even a change that I actually like from the comics. No, so I always get this messed up when I'm talking about Mortal Kombat. I'm so used to saying something from the comics, something from Marvel, because I usually talk about my main two things I talk about are Marvel and DC. So I've even messed this up in the past, but I usually go to something from the comics. So when I'm thinking of something from the source material, I usually say comics by accident. I mean the games. Sorry. But yeah, something from the games. I thought that was a more unique change. And I prefer that. But then, that all gets, but she's barely in the movie, and she kind of just instantly dies from Sonya, and then she comes back alive, at least. But, like, it doesn't seem like we're really setting her up or anything after that, so yeah. But yeah, we do see that he resurrects people as revenants, and we see him resurrecting Kung Lao as a revenant, which I like. And, they don't make the revenants as gray from, I almost said something again, as gray from the video games. Like, in the video games, they're like completely gray. I think that was mainly just because they didn't want to have Sindel look like that in her first appearance, so they just kind of like have like the demon eyes and kind of some lines to them, which I do kind of prefer that change, especially because Sindel is a revenant. I like that. So yeah. So yeah, not a big change here, but yeah. Then we see him take back Kano, and obviously don't want Kano to be a revenant, because Kano is the best part of the last movie. They know that, and they make Kano here, even better in this movie. He's absolutely hilarious in this movie. He's a blast. Like, when he's like, "This dildo," he calls him Voldemort's nutsack, I think, or something like that, and he calls him a dildo. He's hilarious. It is like he's so good in this movie, even better than he is in the last movie. But he brings him back, and the reason he's not a reverend, the reason he's the same, is because he was already so evil that there wasn't even like anything to corrupt, which I just find funny. Which he gets brought back, and then the tournament begins. So we see the Sonya fight. Sindel dies, and then she comes back to life later. I thought it was a weird fight. I would prefer Sindel. Sindel doesn't really use her hair like she does in the video games. But yeah, and then we do see the Johnny Cage versus Katana fight. I thought it was kind of stupid that we kind of get Johnny Cage being sunned. I know he's kind of washed up and stuff, but he should still be able to at least fight back against Katana. But whatever. You know, I just do still think it's kind of stupid that, he's instantly eliminated. And I was thinking, oh, there's gonna be some reason for him to come back, right? I was like, there's gonna be some reason for him to come back. When Jax died later, spoilers, but I mean, when Jax died later, I was like, oh, Jax died outside of Mortal Kombat, so to replace him, they're gonna bring in Johnny Cage. Like, he's gonna be the replacement for Jax because he died outside of Mortal Kombat while the tournament was going on, right? So like, oh, so that's why. But no. It's just, no. It's just, he just doesn't fight in the tournament again. But I was confused when I was like, he has to come back, right? Because, like, I seen him fighting Baraka in the trailers. They do have him fight Baraka, but it's not same context. I'll get to that later, but, it's not the context that will be written, which is a tournament. Which I'll get to that later. Yeah, so yeah, there's 5 from each realm, and I can't really, it's kind of odd because, first off, I think I will still go that it is a mistake to not have the tournament be in the first movie, because in the first movie, they killed off a lot of villain characters from the first game, right? Goro, they killed off Goro, they killed off Sub-Zero, they killed off Kano, but then, Kano came back, but he's not fighting for Outworld, so yeah, so, like, and then Scorpion is good. In this movie, Shang Tsung doesn't fight, so that's all the villains from the original game. And in this movie, instead they take in villains from the second and third game with Sindel, Shao Kahn, Jade, Katana. I know they're not really villains, but still. Who was the fifth one? I'm thinking here for a second. I forget who was the fifth one was, who they fought. Because Jax fought, Jade. Johnny Cage fought Katana. Oh, yeah, shit, I forgot. Kung Lao. Reverend Kung Lao. Sorry, let's let my mind there. Yeah, Reverend Kung Lao. And so, yeah, we see that'll fight and stuff like that. And then, I think I'm skipping past some stuff here. But we do find out ultimately that, I kind of lost my train of thought here, but whatever. We do kind of ultimately find out that the big MacGuffin for this movie is Shinnok's amulet, which I really like because that's a MacGuffin from the games. And I do like this because it's weird because last movie there was a lot of Easter eggs in Raiden's temple, like things like we seen Katana's things. Doesn't really line up for this movie because she gets gifted them by Jade, but whatever. We've seen one of Katana's fans. Then another thing we've seen was Shinnok's amulet, and Kano steals Shinnok's amulet, which is set up from what he said earlier, where she said, like, oh, by the way, if I find anything in that temple, I'm keeping, you're not getting any of it. Sorry. But, we see that, and then, it was more of a joke in the first movie. He's like, put it, and then Luke King's like, put it back, and he's like, but ultimately we do find out that he actually did keep it here, and that was Shinnok's amulet, and it's like a big MacGuffin, which I thought was kind of funny because this one-off joke Easter egg from the last movie is now like the main plot device and MacGuffin for this movie. So yeah, that's like the main MacGuffin. I like it, but it's also funny. I was kind of disappointed. Like in the trailers, there's about three reactions when I seen that Kano was back. Oh yeah, Kano's back. And he's back working with good guys. He should be on Outworld. He should be a villain. Then I also went, he has his laser eye for the last movie. Even though they were clearly stated in the last movie, got stabbed in the eye. He was gonna get his robotic eye from the video games. Now he has a laser eye. He just has a normal eye. That's whatever. I would prefer him to have the robotic eye. But, whatever. Just accept that it's not gonna happen, probably. It's whatever. Kano's so great. I don't really care that much. So yeah, that's one thing. Sorry, sorry, I had to pause the video there for a second. But yeah, well, I was talking, okay, oh, yeah. But I do think that they servitude to do both those things right, and I'll get to them later on. But okay, I think I was taught. So that was essentially the whole Shinnok ceremony is just essentially to grant Shao Kahn powers of immortality, which is all they didn't have it here because he usually does in the games, but whatever. It was mainly for him to have a healing factor now. So so then we get to fights, and I do really like these fights. Because first off, the last fights weren't really that good, but now we get some great fights. We get Jade versus Jax, pretty good. We get Cole Young versus Shao Kahn, which I think was still pretty good, and we do see in this fight, that Cole Young dies, and he does fight. Jade versus I didn't really recognize the place Sonya was fighting Sindel, or the place Johnny was fighting Katana, or the place Jax was fighting Jade. But however, in this fight, it is a place from the video games where I was kind of disappointed because I do like seeing Shao Kahn smash Cole Young's head. But however, that place is infinite. Is a very big place because of its stage fatality. Stage fatality in the video games, like there's two main ones, or this is like the second big one, because the main one is obviously the pit where you throw him in and get stabbed. By the way, in the last Mortal Kombat movie in this franchise, we seen Jax fighting Reiko in the pit, and he does a normal fatality on him instead of that stage fatality. That annoyed me then, still annoys me now, because they get this awesome place with this awesome stage fatality where they get hooked in, like, I think through the jaw, and they get reeled into the acid there. And yeah, that's such an awesome stage fatality, and then we don't get it here. Instead he gets a normal fatality. Funny enough, his head gets smashed. The character's head gets smashed in both, and then he just gets thrown into the acid. Like, come on, man! It's like give us a stage fatality. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm fine with Cole Young dying. Whatever. I'm okay with that. But besides, it might even bring him back in the third movie. They'll probably at least bring him back as Revenant. So yeah, especially from all this movie setup. But anyways, so yeah, so that was a pretty cool fight, and then we get the best fight in any Mortal Kombat movie. I don't care. I hear people talking about it's the best fight. I hear other people talking about how it's the second best fight to Reptile versus Liu Kang. That's complete nostalgia. I really like the Reptile versus Liu Kang fight, but it's not that good. It's not that good. There are other fights later on in the franchise, I think, that surpass it. Like the one in Mortal in Snowblind where Sub-Zero versus King Kano. That one's an awesome fight. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but nothing from Annihilation, that's for sure. The Scorpion versus Sub-Zero fight in the last Mortal Kombat movie, definitely. And yeah, there's better fights than that movie. This one is the best fight in the entire franchise. Because you get to sorry, I need to think here for a second. Because first off, it is some emotional weight because Liu Kang is being forced to fight his brother, but he's not really his brother. Like his best friend, essentially brother, he's being forced to fight him. When he's trying to kill him, so he mainly has a fight just to defend back. Also, I do really like this because this is a location in Mortal Kombat 2, and it's just a pretty big location where it usually is a red background, and they do give us a red background for a second, but sometimes in the video games it also is blue, and it's blue here. The only thing they didn't adapt, which I wish they had adapted, is like in the video games, there's like these monks, like around, like just floating in the background. It's just kind of weird. I would prefer them to adapt it here, but whatever. Yeah, he has to fight Reverend Kung Lao. I thought that was such a great fight. Also, just because like there was like multiple segments at one shot, and like the way he was like his hat was moving around, that was such a great way to do it. And then like the way Liu Kang was using his fire powers, that was also awesome. And then there was that one scene, was awesome. But I also like when I was watching theaters, my brother and said Civil War, because it's exactly Civil War, where it's very similar context of these two best friends fighting. So it's one of the friends using his thing he throws to like kill people and do them. His thing that doesn't really work with the laws of physics, and that he throws, using it as like a shield, which it is in that case, against the other friend who's blasting something out of his hands, like toward the thing. It's just like the same thing, right? And that one is Captain America using a shield to fight against Iron Man's plasma blast, and this one is Kung Lao using his hat as a shield to fight against Liu Kang's fire. That like it's very similar. And then I even really like the fact that he throws his hat on the ground. It starts spinning like a buzzsaw, just like in the last movie how he killed Natara. I think that's her name. The Batman who's played by Megan Fox in Mortal Kombat 1. I think it's Natara. But and that's how he killed in the last movie. You see him do that, and he's like, and like Liu Kang's talking about this whole and then he tries to push him in, but then Liu Kang pulls him forward, and he hits him in the middle. He's like, "I'm gonna save you one day, but not today." That's first off, it's great kill. And it's also just sad. It's sad because like these two are best friends, and I really like what they did with Liu Kang's character. Besides something they do later on in the movie, which I really don't like. But I ultimately really love this character. Last movie, I said he's a great character in the video. Last time I did my review on the first movie, I said that he's a great character in the video games and he should have been the main character. But in this movie, he's just a boring character. They fixed that. They fixed that problem. Now he's a great character. He's one of my favorite characters in even these two movies. They absolutely fixed that. So yeah, and then that was kind of like a thing that kind of annoyed me, because that's like the end of the tournament until the very end of the movie, where then we see the final fight of the tournament. I think that's kind of stupid. Whatever. So that was the fight, and then we do see Kano. I think next we see them trying to. Yeah. So next, I think we see them trying to ambush Howard. Oh, I forgot to mention. Yeah, I was so shocked in theaters when Shang Tsung and stuff came to Earthrealm, and Reverend Kung Lao just sliced Raiden's throat. I was so shocked when that happened. I was like, oh my god, are they killing off Raiden? Like, what the hell? Because I knew they were gonna kill off Cole Young, but they never killed off Raiden. I knew that when they said he's okay, but he's he might die. I was like, yeah, that usually means that he's probably gonna make it past this movie, because or else they would have just killed him right there. Right, so that's usually what it means. So I kind of knew at that point, like, okay, Raiden's fine. But yeah, it is pretty crazy that he gets his throat slashed. Then we get all the fights and then whatever, and then we see the crew here, of Jax, Sonya, Johnny Cage, and Liu Kang trying to planning out an invasion to Outworld. I just like they're planning this whole thing out, and then they're essentially saying, okay, we need to get past the Tarkanas? Oh my god, how did I keep forgetting their name? I know Tarkanas isn't right. Let me put that out there. But I forget their names. The thing Baraka is, oh my god. I know Tarkanas isn't right, but I can't remember their names for the life of me. I think I had it earlier in this review too. Anyways, I'm just gonna call them the Tarkanas right now until I remember their name. The Tarkanas, we see them, they're like, we have to go for the Tarkanas, and they're like, they go to Baraka, who's the king here. I really like the fact that we see Baraka. I love Baraka. So we see them being like, oh yeah, can you let us, go through, Shao Kahn will fall and all that shit. But then he's like, yeah, I don't care. No. And he walks away. And then I love the fact that Johnny Cage just rage baits him and pisses him off. And they come back like, you're gonna have to tell your little, like, whatever. I forget, but like he's essentially just he just insults him and rage baits him into coming him back. He calls him a pussy and stuff. I thought that was really funny. And he's like, I want to fight Johnny Cage. So he fights Johnny Cage, and for the first part he's running. And it's it's whatever. So he's just running away from Baraka. And it's all this whole thing, there's some funny stuff with like little Turkican kids. I know it's not the name, but use it for the time being. Ultimately, he gets like knocked down. He gets there, and I thought it was really funny how everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you're just gonna die here," in this fight before, and then even like right before the fight starts, you see like Sonya Blade and Liu Kang like trying to like be like, "Yeah, you could do this, Johnny," and then you just see Jax like doing the the religious thing where you like you tap your head and both shoulders, like that thing. You just see Jax doing that to Johnny Cage. That's super funny. But yeah, and then like he gets knocked down, and then Sonya Blade, who there isn't really much of a potential romance here. There kind of is because they do interact a lot, and it's the same thing with Katana and Liu Kang, because there was a scene where like it seems like where like Liu Kang walks in somewhere and he seems like concerned for Katana, because they're also usually together in the video games, I mean, they're like those are like so those are both like pretty big romances to the point where Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade have a kid. So then like he gets in this fight, and then like Sonya Blade like encourages him to get up, and like, you're an actor, so just act. And then he does this really weird fight, and I really like the fight, but it was also weird, the fact that like this weird like spinning movement thing, and then he does the splits, and he nut punches him. Amazing, right from the video game. I absolutely love that, the fact they did that. Just absolutely love that. And then I think like he's like, that was the best fighting I ever. I expected Baraka to die, but no, Baraka's like, that was the best fighting I ever seen in my life. It's like, teach me. And he gets into doing favors of like killing Outworld. I absolutely love the fact that like he has like now has like a friendship with Baraka, and Baraka seems to like be like a good guy now, because you see at the end of the movie Baraka's like gonna be with him in the third movie. I absolutely love that. But yeah, so he brings him there. And then they get into a fight with Shao Kahn trying to get the amulet. And trying to get Shinnok's amulet. But so they try to get that, but then Shao Kahn stops them, and they get into a fight with Sonya Blade, Liu Kang, and I don't think Johnny Cage was in the fight, but Sonya Blade, Liu Kang, and Jax. They're all fighting. I like how it was like kind of like a tag team thing or woman drop out. I thought that was a really cool fight. But then something that I was not expecting at all, Jax just dies. Jax just gets killed. Okay, just gets stabbed in the neck by Shao Kahn's thing and he just bleeds out. That was absolutely insane that they just killed him. I did not even close to expect that. And also when I seen him killed, I was like, oh, so next movie we're doing MKX's storyline. Okay, that makes sense. And it does seem like we're kind of loosely doing parts of that at least. But yeah, so yeah. Because we just see him die. That was insane. That was absolutely insane. He just gets stabbed in the neck and bleeds out. I did not expect that in the slightest. But yeah, that was what happened. And I don't think they got they never got Shinnok's amulet at this point, because Noob Saibot comes in and takes it. I thought that was cool. So he brings it to another room, and then Kano comes in. And he's like, I think this is when Kano comes in, and we see Liu Kang and Sonya Blade get teleported away to go to their final fight. So they're all gone, and then Jax is dead. So it's just Johnny Cage. I was like what's gonna happen? Like the pacing is either bad or good. Depends on why we look it up. Personally, I really like the pacing. Okay, because sometimes if a movie goes by too fast, that could be a really bad thing. Like with Scream 7, I still really like Scream 7, but big but here. In Scream 7, I did not like the pacing at all. The pacing was really bad. It was too quick. This movie, I think, is quick at the right amount, where it's quick enough to be like, felt like a breeze. And it's also like, but it's also like, it's not like, it doesn't feel like it's rushing anything or anything. I just feel like it uses its time wisely, and it's always good at that. So we see Kano come in. We see Kano come back, and he's still hilarious. And we see him talk to Johnny Cage, right? And he's like, I want, the reason I'm not with our world anymore is because I like Earth, I like beer, I like cocaine, I like all these things. He names all these crazy things. It's like, I like all that, so Outworld just like a pile of rubble anyways. I thought that was a great reason why for Kano to join, and I love the fact that Kano is now part of the main crew. That's so funny. I love the fact that, and I love the dynamic then between Kano and Johnny Cage, because the thing is, Carl Urban, when he was announced as Johnny Cage, I'm like, really? Carl Urban as Johnny Cage? Like, I think that Glenn Powell would have been like a great Johnny Cage, but Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, he would be a better Kano, right? Carl Urban would be an amazing Kano. Obviously, he probably do. I think he's from New Zealand, but he could do a great British accent. He could probably do a great Australian accent. He would just play an absolutely amazing Kano. The guy that got for Kano, though, I forget his name. It's like Josh something. I'm pretty sure it was actually Chris Hemsworth's stunt double. For like the Avengers movies. He might not be, but I'm pretty sure he is. But like, that's pretty cool. Or he was. He's amazing as Kano. He's so funny. He's hilarious. Just everything with Kano in this movie. They got Kano down directly right in these movies. So I love the fact that Kano is I love the fact that Kano is doing all this stuff. And also, they never even reference the Arcanas in this movie. I think it's called that. I forget. The things where they have the Mortal Kombat tattoo on them. We do know that Johnny Cage has one. We know that each character has one. But they don't bring it up. They just say your inner power, essentially. Which I think is a better way of handling than the stupid logo. I still don't like the inner power thing. But, however, it is a better version of it. Right? And, we don't even see Johnny Cage. We don't see any of them. Right? We don't see a single one. So I thought that was good. And then it was cool. And then so we get to see Kano and Johnny Cage in another room. Great dynamic. The two best characters of these movies. And some of the best characters from the video games too. So yeah. I mean, Johnny Cage is still the best character, so yeah. And Kano's one of the best, yeah. So we get to see them go to another room. We get to see them Scorpion. I find it so funny that like Kanos are always just like, because like they're there, and it seems because Scorpion's like somehow manipulating NetherRealm to make it look like this like amazing like garden and stuff, and we just see and I love how it's just Kano's always like like this, I always knew how it would be like a great place. It was great. I was like he starts eating the like the peach on the tree. He's like, you want some? See yourself. He's eating the peach on the tree. I thought that was so funny. But yeah, then they tempt Scorpion like, beyond the left. And then I love how Kano just like, is it Bihon? Is it And anyway, Sub-Zero, the guy who killed her, it's Bihon. I think it's Bihon, and it's Sub-Zero, the guy who killed your family. So yeah, that was funny. So then we go to see them go to Bihon or Noob Saibot. And we get to see this awesome fight between Johnny Cage, Scorpion, and Kano against Noob Saibot, and I absolutely love that. I thought it was really cool. Jump cut to us seeing the fight between Sonya Blade, Liu Kang, and Veggie against Shao Kahn. So first off, I do really like both fights, but however, I still find it infinitely stupid that Liu Kang seemingly dies here. Even his last words, I find so stupid. He gets stabbed, and throughout the entire movie, by the way, I was thinking, first movie, main character's Cole Young. Second movie, main character's Johnny Cage selects Katana, and the way they were setting up Liu Kang, I was like, third movie, he's gonna be the main character, finally from the video games, yeah. But now he gets stabbed, and he probably gets turned into a Revenant here. Maybe he survives, I don't know, because we do see him fly off, but even his dialogue was so stupid, because he goes, I now realize that I was not the chosen one, and that my prophecy was to bring back Kung Lao, which is such a stupid word from video games. In the video games, he is the chosen one. In the video games, you think Kung Lao is the chosen one. That's like the entire thing that they thought Kung Lao was the chosen one because he was the ancestor of the great Kung Lao. But then it was like a rope pull, and he was actually the chosen one. That's great. That's so great. But now he's not. It's probably Kung Lao being the chosen one, which I find so stupid. But yeah, we see him fly away, whatever. Very stupid. That's a big issue of the movie. And then, we see them, we just see, Sonya Blade get knocked out. And it's like, oh, we finally won. And then Katana's like, hey, no, I'm still part of this fight, and I'm not fighting for you anymore. I'm fighting for Earthrealm. I'm going to Earthrealm's team. They get in the fight. I think it's kind of stupid that ultimately Katana's the one with him. I'm fine with it because it worked for the movie, but at the same time, like, it's kind of stupid that Katana defeats Shao Kahn, and it's kind of stupid that we kill off Shao Kahn in the second movie instead of keeping to also be the villain of the third movie. But we're doing good stuff in the third movie, so yeah, whatever. But yeah, we'll jump cut to an even better fight between all those guys, and like it's super. Like, I think that was funny. I think that it gave a clear objective to the fight because, like, it would kind of be a tag team fight where, they're like Kano and Johnny Cage were trying to get away with Shinnok's amulet. So they're trying to get away with that. And Noob Saibot was trying to stop them while Scorpion was really trying to kill Noob Saibot. I thought that was all it's very great the way they did that. And then we see, Johnny Cage like jump off a thing when Noob Saibot's about to like kill him with the amulet. There's a whole thing with the amulet. Noob Saibot takes the amulet, and then we see Jade break her staff. Or this happened earlier. She has like a redemption arc. She breaks her staff. It's like completely green and powerful and glowing, and she comes down another room and she helps defeat Noob Saibot while Katana's having a fight with Shao Kahn and having a big fight. And then So it kind of did I do not exactly like this, that it kind of did come down. I do like the way they handle it, especially they earned it, but at the same time, it's not exactly great. It's still not that good. I personally wouldn't have done it. Where it does end up down to them just shooting their thing at him, where Jade shoots their green energy power that she now has, and Noob Saibot, Kano shoots his laser eye, and then Scorpion still doesn't finally get the full skull. He doesn't even get half a skull now. He's just like, oh yeah, he's breathing fire at him. So yeah, it's all three of them. And then, although this was awesome, like around the same time, Katana gives her fatality to Shao Kahn. I'm pretty sure that's a fatality from the game, but if it's not, it's very creative. But yeah, it was ultimately awesome the way they killed him. I still love the way they killed him. It was a really cool fatality, really well gore and stuff. But at the same time, like, really? Katana? Like, not Liu Kang. Not Cole Young. But yeah, and then we see, like, it being awesome. Where it's like, my power is that I'm Johnny fucking Cage. That was so cool. And then, we see, walking this way, I was like, okay, what I'm expecting gonna happen, because in the trailers they didn't show Johnny Cage's powers. What I'm expecting his powers is gonna be green energy power, because that's powers in the video games. That's quite obvious. So it's like, okay, well, that's what we're gonna see, right? We're gonna see him get his energy powers at the end when he finally gets his arcana, and that's gonna be the whole thing, right? Right, so we see. So I was like, are we not gonna give him his powers? And with the whole Shinnok Amulet thing, like, I don't want it to break and give him powers, because in the video games it was like a thing where he got powers from Shinnok's amulet itself and Shinnok. That's how he got his powers, because originally he didn't have them, and then MKX at the start of it, he gets his powers from that. So I was like, I don't want him to have that because he has the arcana. Just let him have the green powers. But then what happens is that doesn't happen. He after he says that, he does a shadow kick. He does a classic shadow kick from the game, wall with his green energy powers. I was so hyped. I was actually like, actually, whoa my god, they actually did it. He kicks Noob Saibot off it. They get the thing. They destroy the amulet, which lets Katana able to kill off Shao Kahn. And I was like, yes, that was so awesome. Yes, amazing. And then after that we see Johnny Cage telling the stories to the Tarkanians. I still can't remember their name. And Barack in particular. I also love Barack is kind of like a child. Whenever we see him, I really like Barack in the franchise. And then we see that Katana's the new queen of Edenia, and we see Jade become like right next to her and stuff. And then we see Sonya and Raiden come in. They're like, oh, they talk and like, oh, we need you. And then we see Kano come in with Quan Chi, and we see Jade and Katana come in, and we're like, and he's like, well, is there another tournament? He's like, no, we killed Shao Kahn. I was like, okay. We killed Shao Kahn. We're going to NetherRealm to get the people that we lost. Also, by the way, I think I forgot to mention this. The Ed Boon cameo was awesome. I got it spoiled, but still, like, I still did love seeing Ed Boon in this movie. No matter what. But like we said, like we're like, okay, we're going to NetherRealm, and Kano's now a good guy or like that. And then Johnny Cage is like, hey Brock, you want to complete your training with us? And Brock is like, yeah. So now Brock's a good guy, and that team is going to NetherRealm to go seemingly resurrect all the characters we lost in this movie. That's so cool. And then the credits are awesome because we play the classic awesome Mortal Kombat theme song. And there's no post-credit scene, but if for some reason you're still watching this review, even though it's spoiler warning, I would recommend if you're gonna go see this movie in theaters, I would recommend you stay around for the credits. They were really cool. Because I did still stay around for the credits, but yeah, you don't have to stay for the full credits, but like I do, like just stay for like the normal credits because those are awesome. But yeah, so yeah, there's predictions for the next movie. I think that we're gonna get. I think obviously it's gonna be set in NetherRealm. That's clear. We're probably gonna get a bigger budget. I mean, if we want to spend our whole movie in NetherRealm, we're gonna need a bigger budget. I mean, we got a bigger budget in this movie, and this movie seems to be. I think it seems to be performing pretty well. So it seems we're gonna get probably a bigger budget for the third movie. Luckily, also critics are actually really liking this movie, which is kind of crazy. I did not expect that, but yeah. Prediction for the third movie. I think obviously we're gonna see Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Jax, potentially Cole Young, as revenants for themselves. We're obviously gonna see them interacting with Scorpion again. That's pretty clear. I think we'll see Noob Saibot again. And then I think we'll see some characters like they're like NetherRealm and Demon characters from the video game that are like evil. We'll probably see them as villains in the next movie. And the main villain, well, I'm willing to bet money, will be Shinnok because it can't be Quan Chi because Quan Chi's kind of like kidnapped with him. I guess it can be, but still, I would be willing to bet money that it would be Shinnok because the way they set up Shinnok throughout this movie with Shinnok's amulet. But yeah, ultimately, those are my thoughts on the movie. I thought it was great. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.